Hola, our friends. Welcome back to A Life I Choose, the place to be to design your life so you can thrive. It's Emma and Pete again.
Hello.
It is.
I always do this. I say something and I look at you. Hello.
Am I doing a good
Did
job?
I do good?
Did I do good? It's Saturday the 14th of March. It is the weekend after... How long has it been since coronavirus came to Malta?
No idea.
I think it hasn't been a week yet. So it's the weekend after the day that it happened. The anxiety is high, it's palpable. We're sort of making sure to stay calm. On Thursday in particular, the anxiety was really high. It was like people were just talking about it all day, and there were messages and messages and messages and horrible stories, and we didn't even know where the messages were being sourced from and stuff. And in the evening I got really anxious.
Somebody woke me up at night.
And Pete was not pleased, not entertained at all.
Oh no, but it's normal. Even I was anxious.
Then, because I got anxious, you got annoyed with me because you didn't want to get anxious. You didn't want to tap into the anxiety.
Yes, and I was doing a bloody good job of it as well while I was sleeping.
You suggested that we do the Wim Hof breathing method, which by the way will show you, because it's really helpful in this situation. It's massively helpful because it really gets you to trust your lungs. On Friday morning I woke up and I just decided enough, we could get sick, and yes, things are changing economically, socially, on so many levels, but if I'm gonna sit here and allow it to ruin my life, I'm gonna have a really hard time. So I'm not doing that. And I told myself, okay, we're not going to that anxiety again. I choose and I commit to making good out of this no matter what, enjoying this time and not allowing the virus to get me before it even gets me, and even if it gets me, to stay present each moment, to stay with reality, because I think that we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality.
I just took over your channel, eh?
You totally did.
But I'm so much more awesome.
It's you filmed a video this morning. It's it's my turn.
Exactly.
I guess my turn. And Pete likes to watch the videos that he's in.
Hashtag vlogger.
So anyway, so welcome to the vlog. It's a weekend vlog. We are reducing anxiety and boosting our immunity. That is our focus. Before coronavirus hit Malta, I was thinking, oh, the news are really hyping this up, and this is such bullshit, and they're making everyone scared. And yes, I do think that there is hype and stuff, and we probably don't need to be as scared. But at the same time, when you see what's happening in Italy, we're a tiny island, we're densely populated, so I don't think this is something to take lightly, so following the precautions is not the same as giving into the fear.
Yeah.
Giving into fear is staying on your phone all day to check the updates. It's, going to the anxiety and staying there and not calming yourself down. It's living in the future and disempowering yourself, thinking everything's going to shit. That is giving into the fear. Following the precautions is an act of love. That's an act of taking care of each other, and not just your family and friends, but of our society. As in, we're in this together, so that's where we are at the moment. Anyway, we're gonna go for a walk and we'll catch you later. Good morning everyone. It is Sunday morning and we are about to do the Wim Hof breathing method, so we thought that we'd bring you along with us. So we told you a little bit about it yesterday. It's basically, I was very resistant to doing it at the beginning because I know it involves holding your breath, and obviously that's not a sensation that I'm oh yes, let me hold my breath. But actually doing it really chills me out, and it brings this amazing level of trust to my body, and it helps me to get in touch with my body. So while there's all this, coronavirus anxiety and, these thoughts of not being able to breathe and blah, blah, blah. And I say blah, 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 not to make it light, not to dismiss it, but because there's obviously a lot of fear around it. This method of breathing helps you to, at least it helps me to really feel my lungs and feel what's real in this moment in my body, and to relax and trust my body. So I'll link it down below so that you can try it, but you can watch us do it now. Obviously we're just going to be breathing and lying down, so it's not going to be majorly exciting for you to watch, but you can get an idea. That's Ezio Trot, by the way.
Doing it with us.
He's doing it with us. He's ready. I'm ready to breathe, baby.
Something about you I like. About you I like. You're crazy for saying I I should slow down, but maybe I'm escaping the love we found. There's something about you, something about you I like, about you I like.
Do you find that your temperature drops by the second round?
No, temperature doesn't drop for me. I just feel a lot of tension in my neck and my head.
I find that like I get colder in the second round, like here, like especially in my head. What's cool is like I can hold my breath now much easier. Like I remember the first time when
You
he
panic
was
a bit, like something.
the first time I remember he said like you have 30 seconds left. I was like 30 seconds, like, you know.
It happens sometimes.
This time I was like, I felt like I could have gone
What's
even
interesting
longer.
is to take on the instructions of the first round even in the second and third. So like to relax your fingers and your toes and your neck muscles, kind of listen to your heart and calm it down and like give it space kind of thing. From what I've heard in his interviews, the way it works is that by stopping your breath, you're actually activating the reptilian brain, which activates the adrenal glands. You release a lot of adrenaline, but because you've done the breathing exercises, your blood is actually much more alkaline. And so the adrenaline mixed with the alkaline blood really activates the oxygen circulation in the blood, and it also activates the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes. Basically white blood cell movement and cleaning up of like kind of the waste of the body. They're both extremely useful if you're getting sick or if you're trying to avoid getting sick. And I think that just practicing this is going to get us a bit stronger and put us in a better place to fight the virus if we get it.
Yeah. And even to trust the lungs, since it affects the lungs, I think it's good to already create that relationship with your lungs so that when you get it, because obviously if you get it, because
the chances are relatively high, let's face it, I think they're about 60% or something.
Doing a practice like this, it develops the relationship with your body. So when we get sick, our temptation very often is to move ourselves away from it and like fight it, and we resist it. And that actually panics us more than surrendering to it and allowing ourselves to feel it. It's a bit like last time I was hanging out with my niece. This was before the whole thing started. And my niece hit her hand against the coffee table. She started like kind of like, and I held her hand and I told her, like pain comes and it goes. But when you try and fight the pain, when you try to run away from it, it just intensifies, it just gets worse. So breathe deep and just allow yourself to feel it and be kind to it. She calmed down, she breathed deep. Within like a minute, she was fine, you know? And we really need to learn to do this because in our Western society, we've gotten so used to popping a pill or distracting ourselves or, you know, drinking alcohol or eating sugar just to distract ourselves, and we've disconnected from our bodies. So this is a good opportunity to reconnect, and practices like meditation and the Wim Hof breathing method, these all help to reconnect with the body. Yoga, even just gentle walking, so long as you're like walking and you're not distracting yourself or you're just talking about the virus, like, you know. So anyway, we hope you found this helpful. Peace.
You did such a good job.
We have no children, okay?
Ciao, ciao.
This is my child. Hi guys, it is now Wednesday evening, so we haven't spoken for 3 days, and I'm aware that this vlog is pretty chatty, so I'm not going to talk for too long, but I do want to give you an update. So 3 days have passed. There's now about 50 cases announced, 2 have recovered, and we're all adjusting to this new bizarre lifestyle of being indoors and not being able to be around our families and our friends and be in social spaces. It's been bizarre, it's been weird, it's been anxiety producing at times. There's so much uncertainty, not just for health but also economically, and it's just been interesting, to say the least. Very, very interesting. I mean, it has been super interesting, and I feel so blessed because I work with my clients and I get to understand how they're responding and how they're feeling and what they're thinking. So for me, it's a very, very interesting space to be. I do think that certain beauties are coming out of it, you know, like just the fact that, you know, up until like a week and a half ago, we could all be around each other physically as much as we wanted. And so many of us were on our phones or distracted, you know. And now we can't be around each other physically, and we're craving that physical connection. And to me, that's just very, very beautiful. And I think a lot of beauty will come out of this. And I think that we will learn a lot. You know, I don't think this is a doom and gloom situation. I think it's a challenging situation. I think it's an interesting situation. Something that is very interesting for me is that when you know, 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago? 2.5 years ago, I had a stroke. Basically what happened was these two arteries that take blood up to 2/3 of the brain, they had a rip in them, and because they had a rip in them, they swelled inwards and not enough blood was getting up to my brain, and so not enough oxygen, and I had all of these weird symptoms and whatever. And around that time, you know, I had been unwell with fibromyalgia for about 5 years, and then it accumulated into that. I had this death anxiety with me, like constantly. Like I was convinced I was gonna die young. And as horrible as that time was, I am so grateful for it, because it really woke me up and it really like kicked me into gear. And like I was like, okay, fuck what you're scared of and fuck what you think you should do. Like, just do what you want to do what you're driven to do. And now that like this death anxiety seems to be like on a global scale, I think something beautiful will come out of it, because it might wake people up. And it might even wake people up to the fact that we need to take care of our species. Like, we speak about the environment, like the environment's in danger, we are in danger, our existence is in danger. So like, we need to be thinking about so many different things. And I think that this experience has the potential to really bring us together. It just depends on what we choose. It depends on whether we choose to see it as a loss and as something like, why is this happening to us? Or to kind of say, okay, this is happening, what beauty can we create from this? And thank you, God, for this lesson. Like, what can I learn from this? What can I do with this? How can I move forward? So yeah, I do think that there's a lot of potential, and I'm super curious. I'm very curious to see where this takes us. So anyway, guys, if you want to stay in touch more, I'm answering loads of questions on Instagram, because you guys have lots and lots of questions. So go follow me over there. We're speaking about adjusting, we're speaking about anxiety, we're speaking about work, we're speaking about a lot of stuff over there. Also, we're starting a podcast. If it's up yet, then I will link it down below. If it's not, then just stay tuned. I'll announce it on Instagram for sure. And the first podcast is with my friend who is a microbial, I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, I might have, a microbial ecologist who studies microbes, including viruses, and he's going to explain how the viruses spread and why social distancing matters, and other precautions that maybe haven't been discussed already that we can take to set ourselves up for success in this time. I'm sending you lots of love and peace and joy and health and connection. Love you guys. Peace.